Okay, it's time for another personal share, personal update. Things are moving fast and furious over here. I mean, what did you expect after the last update, which was, pretty hellish, the hell realm for sure, dark night of the soul, deathless death or kind of a near death experience. Anyway, and that shocking physical event. Yeah, I got the message, universe. And I don't know if I expressed it at the end of the video, but that entire experience with the deathless death, the ego witnessing its own death and then coming back like hell on fire, excuse me, in order to save its life. And I was allowing it. I was allowing the mind and the ego to just run wild. But at the end of the day, at the end of that whole episode, I really came back with this inner strength after the fall. That's what it took. The physical pain is what it took. Where I said, I can't do this anymore. I cannot let the ego mind get so out of control. And it just ignited in me this inner strength and determination and perseverance to say no to that. I mean, it became physical. I could feel that strength. And that is exactly what that whole experience was about, to develop the strength, the divine will versus ego mind will. And it absolutely worked, but it also has now projected me into a whole new world. Yeah, so where do I begin? This is going to be a long one. I even have notes because it's been so much in such a short time. Okay, so yeah, deathless death. Thank goodness. Yeah, I was realizing I have a purpose, blah, blah, blah. Okay, and so I had, come back strong with some really deep inner strength. And then the topic of love came up. And this has been an ongoing theme for me over the many years on the spiritual journey. Like, okay, there are so many people out there experiencing this love. They awaken. And I'm not talking about kind of the new age kind of love or the human kind of love, like, oh, I'm so supportive of you. I love you. I love holding space. Not that kind of love, but a kind of like that blissful love, that blissful background of the universe love. And for years, I'm like begging the universe, send me that love, awaken that love in me. Where can I find it? Why am I not feeling it? If I'm awake, why am I not experiencing? Anyway, so that topic came up again, and I could just feel that now was the time to face it. And so I started again on contemplating, okay, universe, what is this love? What are you trying to tell me? What needs to awaken in me? Why can't I feel the love? Anyway, I think it was a couple of days, or maybe the second day into contemplation and meditation, I suddenly got inspired to do a technique. This is I'm not aware of anyone else doing it. This is what came to me, but of course somebody else could be doing it, but I'm not taking it from them, just from an inspiration. And by the way, I just have to, have a disclaimer here. I'm not claiming anything in my videos. I'm just going to share my experiences so that maybe you're having some experiences and you can go, okay, if she's feeling that, then I'm feeling that. Just to share experiences and perhaps some ahas, some not teaching, but just things and confirmations and synchronicities that might help you. Okay, so anyway, I got this inspiration of a technique of utilizing my CSF fluid, the central nervous system, the fluid around the spine and the brain, and imprinting that with the word love and running it up the spine. Yes, it's just like running Kundalini, but Kundalini represents in the manifested world love. The background of Kundalini is is love. So I just thought, I can't understand this. My mind can't grasp love, this universal love. And I think it's a really good technique. I recommend using it. So I imprinted the word love in my central spine, CSF, the fluid, and I was running it up the spine, wrapping it around all the vertebrae and then into the back of my head. Well, the entire brain. I was just saturating the fluid and my brain, but in particular, the back of the head, which represents the heart chakra, which is part of the brain that is linked to the heart chakra. So I was really saturating it with love. And I did this for several days. I did it for 3 days, as a matter of fact, before something started happening. I was going to tell you something else. Oh yeah, and then I just flooded all of my cells, and I highly recommend you trying this with whatever word I suppose you want to use, but love really worked for me. Anyway, so let me look at my notes. Yes, asking blah 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 and I literally, that's what I wanted to say. And I have been suffering from headaches basically my whole life, but really since 2006 or 7, whenever Kundalini like reactivated. Yeah, the headaches in the back of my head, ding ding ding, back of the head, heart, love, have been incredible, but also linked to eating disorders, trying to fill the void of love. Yeah. So that's why I thought, oh my God, this whole eating disorder is about love. Anyway, I'll come back to that. Okay. So after the 3 days of doing that technique, it was like, and maybe I don't know how this time for me is not, I can't remember, but I woke up one day and I go, and just suddenly it came out of my mouth, I love myself. And I thought, oh, this technique is working. And then the next day, I was like, everything's love, and I could feel it. Now, look, these are not new realizations, but these are realizations that the mental body and perhaps emotional body, and I'm talking about the 5 koshas or sheaths of the human body, that we can have a realization in these outer bodies, the mental, emotional, energy bodies, and even the wisdom body. But I think, but what I've been experiencing past couple weeks is it's now the physical body that is embodying these truths as lived experience. So it's kind of interesting that, the food body, the physical body, is the most outer, and we want to go all the way into the Atman. I think I'll share screen. I know I'm going off topic, but I think it's worth it. Hold on. So let's see. So, here we are, the whole journey. Let me see here. I've got to move it for myself. The whole spiritual journey is, we're so aware of what we're most aware of in the beginning of our life evolution is the food body, right? And then as we go along the journey, we become more aware of whatever the mental body, the energy body, the wisdom body, and then of course the bliss body, which is the causal body. Okay, but the ultimate goal is this inner circle, which is beyond all the bodies, the Atman, although some people say that the Atman is just the individual self, but the Atman is also Brahman, is also the universal self, and is also the 4th state of consciousness, which is Turiya. Okay, so I'm just sharing that so you know what I'm talking about. But anyway, so yeah, we start off really, our awareness is really focused on the physical body, and our goal is to become, to have our awareness in the Atman, okay, in beyond the layers, but it's kind of like, it's an inner thing. And it's so weird that we have all these realizations in all the other bodies and we think we're awake and we think we got it, but the body, the outer layer, seems to be the last one that needs to realize all of these states within itself. I don't know if this is true, but this is feeling like my experience. Anyway, yeah, and I have been, for the last couple of years, my awareness has been resting in the causal body, even though, you of course have access to all these other bodies, but I've been working in the causal body level. And this is true for anyone who has reached Makara point and beyond. And plus, I had a dream where an Indian saint, a female Indian saint who looked an awful lot like Amma, can't say it is, but anyway, she just walked over and whispered in my ear saying, "You're working at the causal level." Okay, so anyway, so the next step after the causal is Atman, is beyond all the levels. Okay, so where the heck was I going with this? I'm so sorry. Oh, okay, so the second day. So my next step, so that I will tell you that what I was missing in this causal level of awareness was the love bliss, because one of my other teachers, Atman, he's all about the love bliss. Oh, the cat wants in, so I have to put you on pause. And, I was like thinking, where's my love bliss? Let me experience it, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so I'm doing that technique, love up, down, spine, my head. And I woke up that one day thinking, oh, I love myself, right? Progression, something's happening. And then the next day, everything is love. Okay. And this is becoming like an embodied, I could feel my body receiving the energy and realizing it within its cells. And then the third day, I woke up and it was like, oh, I am the love. And it was like, every cell in my body exploded in bliss. And this bliss, it's even happening right now, was so intense for like 4 days. Absolutely amazing. And before I talk about that, I'll just say, and what I literally felt like my cells, what I could feel like every part of every cell in my being, it's like the ground of their being, the ground of my being had been awakened with love, that love bliss. And I'm not saying bliss as an ecstasy, I'm just talking about that. It feels like, just think about the word bliss. It's like carbonated bubbles, or when you put Alka-Seltzer in, you hear that sizzling stuff. It's like all your cells have carbonated bubbles, and there's like this expansion, this never-ending expansion and popping of the bubbles where there's no boundaries. It's, my God, is it an addictive feeling? And I can see I wanted to stay there. I could feel the addiction of it coming on. And I think, but you have to remember that's still at the causal body. I think they call it Anandamaya body, the bliss body, causal body. But that's still, your consciousness is still resting in a body, in one of the sheaths, and you haven't reached Atman, beyond the bodies, or Turiya. Anyway, so I think many people get stuck there, or, well, anyway, I'll talk about other stuff later. Okay, so also while I'm feeling all this bliss, what I could feel, it felt like I was literally being woven back into the fabric of life. I felt like all my cells were being knitted back in. Is the most incredible feeling I have ever experienced. Thank you for awakening the love in me. Let me see what else. And also what happened, and through some confirmations and synchronicities, I can say that this is an absorption experience or happening. It's Kundalini being, or the individual self being absorbed into the cosmic self. And also what happened was I could find basically zero trace of me. I could not find myself at all. All I could feel was like, like a little ghostly, wispy puff of smoke that I knew was me, but it was way out into a distance. And as I was, going about my days, those 3 or 4 days, I mean, I literally, there was nothing here. And spontaneously, as I was doing stuff, what came out of my mouth was, love is doing this. I wasn't doing it. Love was doing it. There was no I, me here. Love was doing it. And even when I was in a frustrated mood and blah, blah, what came out, love is doing this. Oh, yeah, there's no me here. I'm not doing anything. It's love experiencing, love using this personality, blah, blah, blah. So when they say faint remains of ignorance, it's a literal, for me, it's literal. That little puff of wispiness, which represented or is, the faint remains of ignorance is there, and I could feel it, but there was an absorption. Okay. Let me look at my notes here. Oh, yes. And also during that time, during meditation, Kundalini heat has returned, or did return. And there was like lots of heat and fire up my spine, over my whole body. And that was an indication that, yes, some realization, some marker line had been crossed, and whatever in my subtle body that needed to be burned away was being burned away. Yeah, it was pretty intense. Just some more junk in the subtle body, so that's really good. Okay. I will say during this, the bliss, I was saying how addictive it is. I did and do know and realize, wow, I could get addicted to this and stay in here right now. But I made a conscious decision because I knew that the bliss body is not where I want to be. I want to be in Turiya, the fourth state. And so I consciously was kind of like saying, no, there's more to go. There's more to go. Because look, if I can experience and point to the bliss, that's not me, right? Not me at all, right? I know what I am. I'm that emptiness, that fullness, whatever you want, silence, whatever you want to call it. Let's see, what do I want to say? Oh, I want to interject something here. And this is my own suspicion, is that I think so yes, you can have an I had an awakening, realized my true self, the no self, I don't know what you want, the Atman, the Brahman, I am Brahman. And that nothingness, fullness, whatever you want to call it, okay? Totally realize that. And I think many people are awakening to that, but they are realizing that state while they're, and I'm probably not choosing the right words, but while their consciousness is still resting in, or awareness is still resting in one of the subtle bodies, whether it be the wisdom body, the astral body, or the bliss body. And that was certainly, as I realize now, that was certainly true for me. While I realized that, my attention, or my default resting place of awareness, was still in bliss body. And in order to get to the fourth state, I had to make a conscious shift of my attention like backwards or higher in order to feel the no state, or that's the fourth state, whatever, Brahman. That has all shifted because this is all about embodying this, and embodying it almost means you have to go beyond the bodies in the body, if that makes sense. That your awareness has to come past the bliss body into the center of your being, which is no center. I know this probably, it doesn't make any sense, and land there. Anyway, before I talk more about that, so after a couple of days, all this just proved the point that I wasn't making things up, that excuse me, something was really happening. So I was driving, still being in this bliss, and all of a sudden there was an explosion, like a sunburst of electricity that went like, I don't even know what was happening. My conscious mind was thinking I was having a stroke, because it was like, it was like pop and like lightning, electricity, sunburst, all the back of my head. And I literally thought I was having a stroke, because I started to lose consciousness. The physical body started going down. Remember, I'm driving. But I realized, I was like, oh no, I'm aware that the body is going unconscious, but I'm still here. And I said, no, I'm here. I'm still here. Everything's okay. I was the awareness watching anyway. So the rest of the day and into the next day, my entire brain was like not on fire, but like electricity. And those of you who are familiar with, Kundalini Vidya and all that work know that when brain centers are being upgraded and upgraded, it's tingling. It's like all this kind of electricity in the brain, and it was incredible. Yeah. So that was about a 24-hour experience. So I knew that technique and the contemplation and the realizations were having physical effects on my physical body and subtle body, that something really did work with that. So I highly recommend that technique. Yeah, let's see, what else do I want to share with you? Okay, and then let's see. Oh yeah, and then a day or so ago in meditation, I was kind of like wondering, I did have some synchronistic confirmations about what perhaps might have been happening. But then in meditation, also during that tingling, I did a meditation, and like the Bindu point was just like was really making itself known again. It hadn't done it for a while, but my sense was that it was doing something. Something was being carved out, or something deeper with Bindu. Anyway, so I was in meditation a couple of days ago, and I was like, well, okay, what is this? Can you give me a confirmation of what this was about? And then suddenly I got a vision of like, it kind of looked like the medical caduceus. Anyway, it was a rod coming out of my head, and a serpent, a snake, was coming out of my head. They were both rising at the same time, and the snake was rising up out of my head, and she was coiling, Kundalini, obviously, and she was coming out of my head and up to the rod and up to here. And she, I can't recall if she, like, her entire tail went up here, but anyway, what this says to me is the 4-inch gap has been bridged. where the individual self is apparently merging or has merged with the cosmic self. And I think that means, well, my sense is, but I'm not going to claim it, but I think this is what's happening, is that I have transitioned, because now I have realized the bliss, the love bliss in my own being. I have transitioned into the Atman, because now my default awareness is right here, like in the center of my being, behind, below my heart. And I don't have to go anywhere with my attention now to get to Brahman or Atman, to get to the silence. It's here. And I don't have to go behind something, another subtle, another layer, whatever. I don't have to go outside the layers of my being to find it. It is right here, right now. It's quite unbelievable, and it's a whole new place of being. And yeah, so that's, while, like I said before, I think many people have awakened to Brahman, yes, but I think until it's right here, right now in your being, without you moving your attention anywhere, doesn't mean that you're stable in it, right? I'm not stable in it. My attention is, now you slide back and forth, but I think it's your default. And then it will take years of stabilizing where it's always there. And you are witness to, and this is already beginning to happen, but it's not stable at all, where then you're here and you witness emotional, mental bliss all at the same time, witnessing it happening. But your default resting position is here rather than in causal body, mental body, or bliss. Now, don't get me wrong. I can still activate that bliss, love bliss, anytime I want to. That has not gone away. And it's the most incredible feeling. But I am not that, and I'm not going to get stuck in that, because my default is Brahman, Atman, I don't know, but something is different here. Yeah, so that's the result of my near death, don't want to be here, what's the point of living? Yeah, I don't know what else to say. I hope that's been helpful to anyone out there. Okay. I don't know if I'll have any more updates for a very long time, because this is going to take a long time to stabilize. Who knows if it happens in this lifetime. Okay, bye.